Leo, in the year 2025, growth is the guarantee. You are either growing in the connections that you've already established, outgrowing the partnerships that are outdated, or evolving into brand new relationships that feel like a dramatic departure from anything you've known before. Hi, my name is Haley Comet, and welcome to my Cosmic Corner of the Internet, where we discuss all things astrology, and today, all things 12 Days of Cosmos Leo 2025 edition. What the cosmos are cooking up for you in the year ahead, and how the lions are going to shine and roar all year long. Or in other words, how it is that you are going to co-create with the cosmos of 2025's astrology and what it's bringing up within your chart and thus your journey. And I want to highlight, just in case this is your first time stopping by my Cosmic Corner of the Internet, my name is Haley Comet. I will always keep it real with you, so I will be forthright around what I see playing out within your astrology, but I will always remind you that you are an empowered co-creator. So this astrology is told by the lens around the themes that may come about and how it is that you can learn all the lessons from it, how it is that you can empower yourself through the potential challenges, and how it is that you can seize the opportunities. Because my love, 2025's astrology has a combination of all of these, all of which we'll break down within this video. I want to let you know that this video will be the most relevant if you are a Leo ascendant. I also recommend it for Leo suns, but your rising sign, whether it's this video or another in the 12 Days of Cosmos series, will be your most accurate snapshot of the year that you're stepping into. The reason for this is because the rising sign sets your houses, and that's always what will be the external life events that are happening. I also recommend listening to your sun sign because I do use solar houses, which is a technique in astrology in which we drag the sun into the first house and set up the houses accordingly, but that'll have a more subtler impact on your year. It might just be some overarching themes versus your rising sign forecast might be some of the outward external themes that you really feel are coming to the surface. If you're looking in the series and you're like, Haley Comet, my rising sign isn't posted, my sun sign isn't posted, I want to let you know that I'm posting all through the month of December until all 12 signs are live. So make sure to subscribe to be updated on that. So without further ado, Leo, let's go ahead and take it into your 2025 forecast, evolving into connection. So Leo, in telling the story of your 2025, I like to firstly call out a defining transit. This is one of the more influential or impactful transits that will shape, frame, and potentially mold the year that you are stepping into. Now this year, what feels to be the most defining of a transit that is alive in the cosmos is that Pluto is in Aquarius. And if you watched 12 Days of Cosmos 2024 edition, you may be remembering, like Haley Comet, Pluto in Aquarius was the defining transit of last year as well. Does this mean that this year is going to be a repeat of last year? Absolutely not. The reason why I selected this as your defining transit is because you are at the precipice of this journey. Pluto has just fully entered Aquarius. So even though Pluto has been dabbling in Aquarius since 2023, 2025 is the first year that from beginning to end, Pluto is transiting Aquarius the entirety of the time. Now, Aquarius is your opposite sign, your 7th house, which governs partnerships, relationships, and one-to-one. So this is an incredibly significant journey that you are stepping into, and it is one of evolution. And there's a story playing out within 2025 around no looking back. Because some of you, since 2023 potentially, could have been a little touch and go, a little in and out, a little we take steps forward within our relationship and then we take steps back, or we get back together and then we break up. Like there could have been like steps forward and back. Now there is a forward momentum. There is a whoosh. Some of you are moving forward in your existing connections. Some of you are breaking up from connections that are no longer supporting your evolution. And some of you are stepping into brand new ways of relating and connecting with others or even with the general public altogether. So let's walk through the various ways that this energy can come to the surface. Pluto asks for growth. You are on the growth path when Pluto is making a harsh aspect to your sign. Now, not all of you will have a Pluto transit this year. That's what's important to keep in mind. The Leos who will have a Pluto opposition are those who have Leo placements between 1 to 3 degrees. That means that you should underline, highlight, put exclamation marks through these themes that I will highlight, because it'll be even more emphasized, even more in your face. And so some of you are really seeking how it is that you can evolve your connections. That's the thing about Pluto transits, is that there's no more doing the same old, like repeating the same thing and hoping for a different result. You know, Pluto's in Aquarius. Aquarius is very intelligent. What's the point of having all the data if we don't integrate the data, right? And so there can be an energy where you've seen this data within your relationship around, we just keep doing the same thing over and over and hoping for a different result. How can we change this? Pluto is the planet of death, and I don't say that in a scary way. I'm just saying some of you are utilizing this transit to dead old cycles, old fights that you guys are stuck in around why are we doing this? Some of you could be experiencing power struggles within your partnership. Someone could be really stepping into their shine and the other person feels threatened by it. And this doesn't even necessarily need to be nefarious necessarily. Sometimes when we are witnessing our partner evolve, or they get a promotion, or they're getting famous, or they're getting more accolades, or there's more eyes on them. Listen, I'm talking to Leos, okay? You guys are born to be seen. Born to be seen. But sometimes if we've been in a connection with someone and they're all of a sudden like leveling up, someone who's not game to level up with you, which is the best manifestation of this transit, will aim to keep you at their level. Again, I believe pure love is wanting the absolute best for that person. But if someone's operating through fear and doesn't want to lose you, there could be dynamics within your relationship around your partner wanting to keep you small, or keep you stuck, keep you stagnant, keep you confused. And it's so important that you stay committed to your own growth path, that you do not allow your partner, your relationship to keep you stuck, that you remember your power, because sometimes it comes from this energy of fear around, okay, if they grow, they could outgrow me. But I need to be honest with you, some of you could be dealing with somebody who is very manipulative, who is very power hungry, who doesn't feel empowered within their world, so seeks to enforce their will on you. Some of you could be partnered with somebody who is very narcissistic, or who hid things from you, or where being in a relationship with them brought certain things within your psychology up to the surface that are impossible to ignore. At this point, it's impossible to ignore. That's the nature of Pluto, is that it makes it so clear where growth is needed. Whether it's how can we evolve within our relationship so we no longer fight around this, or a relationship could just be a portal or a mirror reflection to look at certain parts of your own psyche and where it is that you need to grow. But the energy of Pluto, it goes deep. It rips us from anything superficial, and it gets to the core around who it is that you are and really what it is that you want out of life. Pluto energy can be very sobering in that way, especially with Pluto and Aquarius, the sign in the future. Some of you could be really looking at your partner and really contemplating, is this who I want to spend my life with? Is this who I want to, pass away with? Pluto energy can make us go down that particular path. Not to be morbid, but some of you are looking at your spouse, your partner, and really just questioning, is this who I see my future with? And some of you are being asked to be very analytical about that decision, be very logical about it. You're a Leo, you're ruled by your heart space. That's why Leos are so loving. And Pluto and Aquarius is asking you to employ a more detached or intellectual approach to who you are partnering with and why you are partnering with them. And if you do see a future with these individuals. And the energy of Pluto and Aquarius, some of you could be empowering solutions that are a little unconventional or not the norm. We live in a time where possibilities are multiplying. And so some of you could be stepping into unusual sort of relationship dynamics. Maybe some of you are deciding, let's live apart. Maybe some of you are deciding our future might look different than how other people's futures do. Aquarius is the sign of the rebel. It's individuals who march to the beat of their own drum. And some of you are observing the ways that you can do that within your existing relationships around how can we make this work for us? How can we make the rules, right? Rather than feeling like we have to do things by the book. Pluto and Aquarius is around empowering novel ways. You both doing the work, you know, Pluto energy could be the psyche. So maybe some of you are going to therapy. Like there definitely are things that you can do to support this Pluto energy around how can we grow together? How can we support one another's individual growth and how can we grow together? That is what is essential during a Pluto transit. It's just that Pluto energy can either be this deepening, it could be more intimacy, it could be like kind of this power couple energy, again, evolving together, both being on the growth path, or it could be this energy around just witnessing that the two of you may be outgrowing one another. If one or both parties are resistant to growth, Pluto energy can be an incredibly challenging time because it is a grieving. It is a grieving of what your relationship used to be. And sometimes that's a rough wake-up call. Like some of you could have had certain experiences since 2003 where you just see your partner clearly. Secrets were revealed. Pluto energy gets to the core. You had to confront certain parts of your partner's psyche. One or both of you could have been dealing with grief or loss or some sort of lawsuit or something very dramatic that evolved the connection. And there is a grieving around what your connection used to be. Maybe some of you have even like stepped into a new chapter within your partnership around, you know, you're caring for ailing parents who live in your home, or the two of you have set on this journey as parents, and there's a grieving around what your connection used to be. But it doesn't do any good, especially with a Pluto transit, to hold on to what the connection used to be. You have to be willing, 2025 and beyond, this transit goes until 2044, you have to be willing to discover what your connection can be and to find out who it is that you could be within that connection. Because those are the individuals that I would encourage to contemplate their relationship and whether or not it is in their highest and best good to continue it. Is if you find that growth is no longer sustainable within the relationship. Pluto energy will make that clear, where your partner potentially sees growth as a threat because they see you growing as you outgrowing them. And through this standpoint of fear, will resent you for wanting to grow or try new things, wanting to keep you stuck because they want to keep you. But I think when we enter any sort of relationship, obviously there's the ego desire around, okay, I'm going to stay as I am and you're going to stay as you are. But at the end of the day, when you love someone, you love them so much that you want them to excavate all of the potential within them, unearth all of the talent, all of the desires that they will experience, of course, in respectful, integral ways. But you don't want to be at the end of this experience questioning, who could have I been? I think that's the biggest regret that we can experience, is the regrets around who you could have been had you chosen yourself or chosen growth or chosen to find the strength of your wings, right? To fly from a situation that is not serving you. And again, sometimes it's innocuous. Sometimes it's your partner just being on a different timeline and you're wanting to grow and step into new dimensions of yourself and new dimensions of your life, and they're not there. And we don't have to make that person wrong for that, and that's okay. But I do want to highlight some Leos are dealing with some more sinister themes. And I share this with no fear whatsoever. I just want you to exercise discernment. Because having Pluto here could represent that there are people who are in your orbit who may be seeking to control you, to manipulate you. You know, Pluto's in Aquarius, and Aquarius, the shadow side of it is that it can be very cold, very calculating, very mental. And Pluto energy can represent being ensnared further and further into someone's trap, who wants to control you, who wants to keep you stuck, who wants to make you feel small, who feels threatened by your shine, by your glow. So does things such as neg you, does things such as plant little seeds of doubt within your head, does things such as triangulate you or breadcrumb you or use intermittent reinforcement, things that keep you hooked on them. I just want you to be mindful of people who can utilize their mind or logic or just understanding psyche to manipulate you or to seek to get what they want from you. Whether this is in relationships, business partners, clients, people that you deal with, the energy of Pluto can represent that there are individuals who are a little unsavory within your orbit, and discernment is key here. And there's a lot coming in this year around boundaries, really clarifying what's yours and what's not yours. We'll connect on that a little bit later. But what I want to say with Pluto in the 7th house, exercise caution. Pluto is in Aquarius, an air sign. Use the data. How do you feel around these particular individuals? Now, some of you, if you're like Haley Comet, I've been around narcissists. Like I've already been exposed to these types of people. What I would say is that Pluto in your 7th house could be a time that you are alchemizing those experiences. You're either utilizing that data in order to completely release old cycles. You know, Pluto's around our psyche. So sometimes if we find that we are attracting the same person over and over, it's like, what is the unhealed part of myself that is drawn to these sort of people? Am I trying to recreate the circumstances of, you know, my cold father by trying to get this person to love me, thinking I can only get a different result or something in nature? So getting more and more ensnared in these painful cycles. And Pluto energy can represent this dramatic disruption, like this powerful new chapter beginning around relationships that you're stepping into being very different than what you've experienced before. And choosing that, because you have to choose that, you have to know that you're worthy of that. And if you've been in cycles where secrets were kept from you, where people manipulated you, where they took advantage of you and your kind heart, this Pluto energy could be around you doing the work within your own psychology and evolving into new relationships where you're like, wow, I didn't know it could feel like this. I didn't know that I could be in a relationship and not have my nervous system not feel activated all of the time, like my fight or flight feel activated. Like some of you could be stepping into something very novel. But again, familiarity, even if it's unhealthy, it's familiar. So with the energy of Pluto, you have to completely decide that you are evolving past the cycles of your past and stepping into new connections, ones that are a reflection of your future and not your past. Because some of you are looking at your existing connections, your existing partnerships, and you're seeing you are attached to a prior version of you. You no longer are a reflection of who I am now, but more importantly with Pluto and Aquarius, of where I'm going. And that's where Pluto energy can honestly be a little terrifying, because sometimes we would rather stay stuck in a familiar hell, dramatic, but rather than dare chance heaven, because at least it's familiar. We know what to expect. And Pluto energy, some of you could be thrust into some major changes in relationships, a major breakup, a major ending of some sort, a cycle being cut, a powerful new relationship beginning. Like Pluto energy forces us towards growth, but it is uncomfortable. And some of you, whether you are meeting someone this year or clarifying what it is that you would want for your future, it could intimidate you, the sort of person that you are calling in. The individuals who come into your orbit could reflect what you could be within your future should you step into your power. That could be intimidating to you. Like some of you could come in the orbit of someone who's very powerful, someone who's very magnetic, but who scares you. You're so drawn to them, but they kind of terrify you, because they reflect something to you that kind of scares you about you. And again, it could bring up our fears, our psychological patterns. But what I'm also feeling for some of you is your own strength, your own power. You know, that's something that we fear as well within ourselves. And there could be certain people that come in your orbit that do terrify you a little bit. And this is not a time that I would say, you know, surrender to everyone that you met. Like definitely with Pluto here, be mindful of Machiavellian types. Be mindful of people who love bomb you. If something feels off, it most likely is off. Be mindful of affairs or secretive partnerships. And Leo, I want to be honest that Pluto energy can be a bit of a rude awakening, particularly as it relates to people and their intentions and their base level desires and their undercover motivations. Sometimes it can really awaken us into a harsher, colder version of the world. This could be a transit in which you start to recognize that energy vampires are real. People who pretend to be your friend but are your biggest hater are real. People who are your partner but actually want to keep you from growing, aka being your biggest hater, are real. When you see people through your lens, through your heart, through your intentions, through your soul, you won't be able to really see it because your mind doesn't work like that. You don't seek to take advantage of people. You don't seek to siphon from people. You don't seek to lie to people, whatever the story is. And it can make you almost gaslight the intuitive hits or the data that you're seeing because you're like, people don't do that. People aren't intentionally sadistic, and Pluto transits can be an awakening around some are. It's not saying you need to be jaded and live in fear around other humans during this transit, but it tends to be a time around really awakening to the reality that not everybody moves through this world like you move through this world. You can encounter individuals who are very possessive during this time, very controlling, very jealous, very manipulative, seeking to take advantage of you. And it's so important with the energy of Pluto that you really alchemize all of this into wisdom and into lessons, truly. Some of you could even feel inspired to share what it is that you're learning. You know, people are portals and they do transport us into new realities. Some in very favorable ways. You know, some of you could be stepping into a power couple type energy. You know, power couple here to save the world or change the world with the energy of Pluto and Aquarius. Some of you could be evolving your connection in some way to help humanity. Some of you could be breaking free of certain relationship cycles that have kept you stuck or kept you small. Some people that could be entering your life may be portals to really do that work. But I want to let you know, not every person, not every portal is worth going through this year. And that's where discernment is necessary. We have to remember that when Pluto's in your 7th house, it's opposing your 1st house of self. So yes, your connections are evolving, but you are evolving, Leo. And as we grieve what our relationships used to be, we also grieve who we were within those relationships. And we also grieve the version of ourselves before certain relationships, before certain portals. There could be parts of you that miss how naive you used to be, how innocent you used to be, how you used to move through life thinking that everybody had a heart like yours with intentions like yours. And Pluto transits and these types of people awaken you to reality around recognizing that that is not the case. But I do not want you to let these unsavory types diminish your glow or make you lose out on that joy, that life force, that desire to hype other people up and to share your light with others. I don't want these individuals to diminish that from you. You have to protect it. And that's where Pluto energy is you stepping into your power around either alchemizing, rebuilding after past relationships. If you have walked away from something or something was ended, like the energy of Pluto is really around you stepping into your power, stepping into your resilience, stepping into the new version of yourself. Grieving who you were prior, that more innocent version of you, but knowing that this version of you, the phoenix that is rising from the ashes, is stronger, wiser, utilizing all of this data, holding on to your glow, holding on to your strength, and keeping it moving. And I do feel with other energies aligning within your astrology, a lot of you could be sharing these lessons that you are learning from relationships and partnerships. With the energy of Pluto, it's a reminder that energy is not created nor destroyed, it's transformed. So you can use the pain of this breakup, of this ending, of you having to face certain parts of your own psyche. You can roll that into something else. You can roll that into a creative project. You can roll that into a book. You've got some 9th house energy. You can roll that into your social media. You've got some 11th house energy. And sometimes certain experiences are to prepare you for how you are being called upon to help others. Because 7th house can also deal with one-to-one partners, clients, things of that nature. And so you may find that you are going through certain experiences with others. You're going into these portals with others in order to share that wisdom with either your followers, your community, or your clients in some regard. There have been so many experiences that I've had where it was so painful at the time. And then a couple years in the future, I'll connect with a client who's going through something so similar to what I went through. And I'm able to share the tools of what got me through. And it helps me reframe that experience because I see that it was all preparation for me to be able to share what I learned with this individual. And again, I want to let you know, if you're in the thick of it, it's hard to see okay, this will be a great lesson one day, or I'm going to roll this into my next creative project or into my fame, or this is going to be my biggest blessing. This breakup is my glow up. It takes time for us to get there, and we have to be deep in that Pluto energy around the grieving of not just the connection itself, but also the version of ourself. But I want to let you know, connect to your higher self on the other side of this transformation. Let that version of you guide you through, because they exist. And sometimes with Pluto energy, it's dark. It makes us really fight, sometimes even for our survival. And so with the energy of Pluto, it's just continually at every opportunity choosing who it is that you're evolving into, choosing to walk into the unknown, or choosing to depart it in some regard. Now, Pluto energy can sometimes bring about individuals who are very possessive and very controlling. And it's not always easy in everyone's situation to leave, even if you know that that is what's best. it's not always so easy, especially if you are dealing with someone who is exhibiting the worst dimensions of Pluto energy. So with Pluto and Aquarius, could be tapping into your future self, asking them to give you strength, and planning and plotting your next move. Even if it takes time for you to build up the resources necessary or get a plan in place, like with the energy of Pluto, especially in Aquarius. Aquarius is a little bit of mastermind energy. So some of you could be really contemplating how you want to break free, because sometimes with Pluto energy it can represent someone who wants to keep us small and wants to keep us stuck. Now, I've talked mostly around relationships and partnerships, but I also want to highlight that 7th house does deal with contracts. So just be mindful of where you are partnering with individuals who are power hungry, who seek to control you, profit off of you, take advantage of you. Discernment is necessary, my Leos. I'm seeing this year, Leo, it's important to tell you to be analytical, be logical, be discerning. Don't lose out on your passion, your love, your joy, but sometimes we have to be in our logic to protect our passion. Who is safe for my inner child to play with? Right? Like, I need to have that fortress to be my own guard around who do I want to let into my Leo energy, where I just want to play and have fun and hype you up and things of that nature. Sometimes we have to balance that with logic, because to be honest with you, Leo, not everybody deserves that. You deserve that light, that glow. And be mindful of those who try to take it from you, who rob it from you. Pay attention to interactions you leave where you feel more drained than you did before you went there. Pay attention to when you come back from spending time with someone and your aura feels gray and your hair feels flat and your skin feels drained. Pay attention to these clues, because Pluto can indicate harvesting energy, siphoning energy, and that could be showing up within business partnerships. Be mindful of that, but also romantic partnerships, people who take and drain our energy. I know I sound out there if you're not familiar with this, but energy cords are real. Start to pay attention. Use the data. Okay, with Pluto and Aquarius around, that's interesting that I was in a great mood all day, super happy, super high vibe, go to spend time with you, and now I'm feeling super self-conscious, I'm feeling super anxious, my tummy is in knots. Like, honor the data. This helps with your discernment. You need to navigate this year with discernment and really observing who is amplifying your sunshine and who is siphoning it from you. Because Pluto is extreme energy. So some of you could be stepping into contracts, partnerships, collaborations that are an inflection point. I mean, some of you could be skyrocketing. So pay attention to the people that you partner with or sign with, or the contracts that you sign that help you evolve. Also being mindful that you can also have these extreme lows with Pluto energy around tying yourselves to certain individuals who are bringing you down. It just kind of emphasizes the direction that you can go in within relationships, because people can enhance our sunshine, our rays, or diminish it, block it out. And it's going to be important for you to partner with people who amplify your glow, who allow you to be seen. You know, I'm just tapping into a storyline that some of you are going to see this year, like, wow, my partner actually feels threatened when I go viral online. My partner actually feels threatened when I'm in the limelight or when I'm getting certain attention, because they're making it about them. And some of you are going to recognize, oh, my partner loves to see me achieving my dream and going after what it is that I want. And I'm supporting them as they're achieving their dreams. Like, again, you're going to see, are we going to be a power couple, or are you just wanting me to stay on your level rather than meeting and matching my energy and leveling up with me? And so you'll just have to be mindful of the people you interact with around, are we going to grow together, or are you going to strive to keep me stuck? So Leo, as stated, you are ruled by the sun. And the sun is very consistent. It transits all 12 signs every single year at around the same time. And so tuning into the sun's transits don't necessarily tune us into what the year will have in store for you and the unique nuances that 2025 carries for you. Now, what will is when we look at the dance of the sun, your ruler, the moon, and the nodes, the north node and the south node, thus the eclipses. These are more influential for you as a Leo since you are ruled by the sun. So let's get into the eclipses this year, as it can indicate where a lot of your growth is concentrated in the year ahead. So the eclipses this year land in March and September. Through most of the year, the North Node, which signals collectively what we are moving towards, will be in Pisces, and the South Node will be in Virgo. Now, overall, we are being asked to live by faith with the energy of North Node Pisces, to trust our intuition, to flow with the divine, and to let go with South Node Virgo our plan around it all, how we thought that things should be, timeline that we thought that things would be. Again, I just feel like with that Pluto in the 7th house, South Node in Virgo, there needs to be an energy around letting go of how you thought your connections were going to show up and allow yourself to honor the data around how it is that they're showing up, to release how we thought that things were going to be. We prolong so much of our suffering when we are so insistent that things need to be different than how it is that they are. And again, how things are unfolding may not have been your plan, but with the energy of North Node Pisces this year, we are being guided to trust that it is the divine's plan, as hard as that can be. And so the first eclipse this year lands on March 13th. It is a Virgo lunar eclipse on the South Node. Let's break down these pieces. So a lunar eclipse is a full moon eclipse. Full moon eclipses bring revelations, ahas, illuminations. What may have been shrouded in darkness in other points of the lunar cycle in our lives is now fully revealed. And with this lunar eclipse on the South Node, it's an illumination that is leading us to have to let go of something or release something that's not serving. And with the energy of second house, some of you, this could be releasing a value system that no longer serves you. What I mean by that is you could have had certain value that you were attached to that this year you have this awakening around. This actually doesn't mean that much to me at all. Like I had this plan that I was, for example, I had this plan that it was a value of mine to get married, but now I'm recognizing that that's not something that I genuinely desire. That's something that was placed on me by others. Some of you have valued your work ethic about yourself, which is a beautiful quality, Leo. But some of you are finding my tendency to see my worthiness attached with how hard I work is leading me into these cycles around overworking or martyrdom or lacking proper boundaries as it relates to my work in some regard, because I value myself with how efficient I am, how productive I am, or something of that nature, or even valuing your perfectionistic tendencies, feeling like I am worthy and valid if I am perfect. And that's not the case, Leo. You are worthy and valid just because of who it is that you are. And so this eclipse could be you releasing that. Now, obviously, a lot of times it's human nature for our mind to go to the worst case scenario. And second house is the house of money. And so you may be putting together the pieces around, okay, full moon, revelation, or information coming out, South Node release, second house money. Gosh, is something going to come out that I am losing a stream of income or something of that nature? That can be the worst case scenario, but I don't think it's very empowering for us to bolster that particular way that it could manifest. Again, with a Pluto opposition this year, sometimes you can be a little bit more paranoid or obsessive, particularly around the future. And the thing is, we just don't know how things are going to turn out. In the energy of North Node Pisces, it's just trusting the path as it is unfolding, trusting in the information that's being revealed as it is being revealed. There's an ask to let go and let God when it comes to North Node in Pisces overall. And so some of you could get news around finances. Some of you could be releasing a stream of income that you have had in your life. Maybe the work investment was no longer worth it for you. You were putting a lot in and not getting the same within return. Maybe there's wiser ways that you can scale your time and energy with North Node in the 8th house that are opening up to you. Or you're at least seeking to work smarter and not harder. Like some of you are detangling your worthiness from your work ethic and seeing, I'm a worthy person. I don't need to prove myself or go above and beyond in order to prove that I'm worthy to other people by overworking myself or being a martyr or something of that nature. Like some of you could be releasing financial programming that's in your head that is not serving you or that is keeping you in a little bit more of a perfectionistic mind state or being very hard on yourself. You know, some of you could be releasing guilt attached to money, why did I spend my money like this? Some of you could have some sort of expense comes up where you're like, that was not according to plan, right? With the energy of South Node Virgo. Some of you could also be selling something or just less interested in material belongings. You know, something I got to tell you, Leo, is that you're having a very spiritual year. Next year, a lot of your spiritual houses are very activated. And the second house is very much around what it is that we own and how it is that we make money. So it's not that you're not making money. I remember I went into this transit myself and I was like, is business gonna flop? And that's not how it showed up. It was just this energy around, I was like less interested in stuff and possessions. And for me, it showed up, and maybe this is how it'll show up for you as well. It was more so around my financial stories around money and around my worthiness is how this really came up. Because second house is what we deem worthy, like what we think is worth it to spend our money on, but it's also how we deem our own self-worth. So again, I feel like some of you have been undervaluing yourself, underpricing yourself, and working way too hard as a result of that. And that's something you're letting go around. Listen, I don't need to be doing this, that, and the third. Maybe you've been offering free consultations to your clients and you're feeling taken advantage of in that way. Maybe you've been putting in overtime at your customer service job for the good of the people, which again, you've got Virgo in the second house. You are here to be of service in order to make an income, certainly, but you could be finding that you're placing yourself in this martyr role and not feeling valued for your contributions and craving to feel more valued for your contributions. So walking away from financial dealings that feel like they put you in a state of lack or scarcity, or again, even like martyrdom, like going above and beyond and then feeling resentful. Like that's what unequal financial dealings can do. And when the energetic exchange is off and we put in a lot of work and didn't receive much in return, it feels heavy. It doesn't feel in alignment. So some of you could be walking away from kind of those icky money dealings where you're like, this doesn't feel good. Like this is not the money energy exchange that I want to be in alignment with. And some of you are walking away from that, or at least March's eclipse may reveal where there may be certain financial dynamic that you are serving more than you are being served. Again, when you serve, the universe does serve you, but there could be an energy around you are operating from this energy of martyrdom, taking overtime because you feel like you have to, bending over backwards to be a breadwinner, even when your family is asking you to spend more time with them, so on and so forth. A lot of you are really getting clear on some financial themes that are coming to the surface. And you know, this eclipse does oppose Saturn. So some of you could have to get real with yourself around your finances around this time, around where can I par down? You know, where can I live more simply? Where can I seek not to inflate my lifestyle? And listen, I know money is kind of weird right now, but I would say with this eclipse opposing Saturn, it could be this need to really get clear, where is my money going? How can I spend it in more alignment around what really means something to my soul? How can I ensure that I'm partnering with the right financial advisors or having the right systems in place in order to help me save my resources, accumulate assets? A lot of you could be getting real on your finances and maybe even selling possessions or releasing certain income streams if you find that they're no longer necessary, or releasing certain financial habits. If you're someone where you have certain habits within your day-to-day that you observe don't really add to the big picture of your life, this eclipse could ask you to get real on that, to see that clearly. Then we have an eclipse on March 29th. This is an Aries solar eclipse. So this is an eclipse that is wrapping up the story that's been playing out for the last year and a half. For you, this has been showing up within your 9th house. So a lot of you have been launched into either travel, you've been launched into tuning into the big picture of your life. Some of you have been diving more into spirituality, you've been diving more into astrology, you've been really stepping into the wisdom that helps you frame this experience that we call life, right? That journey could have sent you to get your master's, that journey could have sent you to travel abroad, that journey could have led you to my channel, right? Looking up astrology content. Like the energy of 9th house is really going on this adventure to acquire more wisdom, information, whether that's via travel, education, spirituality, philosophy, so on and so forth, and finding your truth with the energy of North Node Aries, living your truth, living in alignment with your truth. And that could apply to the religious practices, the spiritual doctrines, really stepping into what aligns with you. But even outside of religious and spiritual considerations, I just feel when we consider this big picture energy of ninth house, it's carving your most authentic reality. Really disentangling from other people's projections or expectations around how you should be living and stepping into, it feels good to be me. I'm stepping into how good it feels to be me and to build a life around what it is that I believe in and what it is that I want to create within this experience. Because listen, you're ruled by the sun. You are here to create and share. And the energy of North Node Aries this past year and a half was you being a little bit more unapologetic with belief systems that didn't align for you and getting away from small talk and gossip with South Node, Libra in the third house, or opinions of others or judgment of others. Now, this eclipse crystallizes that work, and it just could be this launch forward around really living in these beliefs that you've found. Again, there's no need to be black or white or extreme. You know, you've got Pluto in the 7th house. Some of you might be a little extreme or intense this year. But I see with the energy of the Aries solar eclipse, some of you could feel more inspired to take a risk, take a chance, transform in some way, because you are feeling so supported by the universe, or feeling supported by the tools, the wisdom, the spiritual modalities that you've came about, the wisdom that you have uncovered. You're feeling supported. And that's helping you take risks with the energy of Aries. It's helping you step into new sides of yourself. Now, on September 7th, we have a Pisces lunar eclipse, which lands in your 8th house. 8th house is the opposite of the 2nd house. So for most of the year, the eclipses land in 8th house, 2nd house, with the exception of that Aries solar eclipse, which is wrapping up your 9th house, 3rd house story. But to tune into the 8th house, 2nd house story, this is an axis that deals with money, but in different ways. Because 8th house is money that comes to us via others. Support streams from others. This could be alimony. This could be child support, assets that are left to us as it relates to inheritance, support from the universe. Something magical about stepping into 8th house energy, and I can verify this within myself and within many of my clients, is that random money can show up. Unexpected support can show up. Checks in the mail can show up. Unexpected commission. A lot of people are guided during 8th house, 2nd house times of their life to really look at their money differently and their energy differently, especially with South Node Virgo. Do not attach your money to your time or your labor of doing something. Really see with North Node Pisces, 8th house, how it is that you can earn more while doing less. And I know that sounds like a pipe dream, and maybe it is. You know, Pisces energy is a little delulu sometimes, but I really feel with the energy of 8th house, some of you could be opening up passive streams of support to you, or even if it's not outright passive, some of you could like set something up, things digital, or selling rights to certain things that you are creating that help you make more money or bring in more money, because it's not tied to, I worked for 1 hour and I made this much. Like, it's important to widen your income streams. And again, if you automatically go into a mode around that's not possible, like with North Node Pisces, believe in the dream. Like, what could you sell online, or how could you invest your money in a way that'll grow money? How can you and your partner, because 8th house is our shared resources, grow your finances together? This is a portion of your chart that I want to encourage you to have discernment over. You have Saturn and Neptune in this territory of your chart for at least part of 2025, so have discernment certainly. I would not just sign with the first financial advisor, the first manager, the first accountant that you come in contact with. It is a year to be intentional and discerning around financial dealings with others and other people who may be managing your money. But I do see with the eclipses, it could be opening up random support, and a lot of you are being guided to learn to receive. If you have a client who wants to tip you or gift you, I know some companies have rules against that, but if you have someone who wants to give you something, receive. Because a lot of times those gifts are coming from the universe, with these people being the conduits of them. So it's a year to really receive. Like, the universe wants you to have blessings, but observe where it is that you feel like you have to be like, no, no, no. Like, I couldn't possibly accept this, or, oh, this old thing, like, oh, I just, receive. Bask in compliments, bask in support, bask in gifts. Like, allow yourself to receive during this time. This governs our spouse's income. So some of you could experience some sort of change when it comes to your spouse's income. North Node is a point of gain or increase, so your partner could start earning more during this time. There could be more conversations around your joint finances, where things are going. I also want to highlight when we get a little metaphysical with it, you know, 8th house is the house of the occult. And so I do feel that a lot of you are getting really into spirituality. You could be getting more into money mindset in order to manifest more money into your world. But ultimately, with the energy of North Node 8th house, we think a lot about legacy when we're having 8th house energy alive. So sometimes we are really thinking about what will remain when I'm no longer here. And a lot of you are wanting to prioritize the things that enliven your soul, the things that really mean something to you. Around, I won't be at the end of my life wishing that I worked more overtime, right? Or that I bought the new Louis Vuitton bag. Like that's what you're releasing with South Node Virgo around. I don't need to work 6 more hours to buy this purse that is not going to add to the quality of my life. And when I can use that time praying, meditating, going to the ocean, you know, finding peace with the energy of North Node Pisces, or giving in places where I feel like it's part of my purpose in some regard. And the final eclipse of the year lands on September 21st. It is a Virgo solar eclipse on the South Node. So a solar eclipse represents a new start, a new beginning, but it's a new start wrapped up in an ending. So again, there could be a certain position or stream of income that you are walking away from in order to potentially start something new. Some of you could be relying more on a partner's income this year. Maybe you are stepping up to contribute to your household in other ways, or you guys could just be entering a new season as it relates to your partnership. So you are walking away from a stream of income that's no longer necessary. Some of you are just being open to inheritances, alimony support. There's support coming to you. So some of you could find there might have been certain things that you were doing for money that you are releasing, or you're releasing certain mind states around being very hard on yourself, being a perfectionist, and seeing your worth around how much you could get done, or feeling that you are a worthy, valuable person if you are perfect. Because when we affirm that around, I am good when I am perfect, we are also affirming I am bad when I am imperfect. And something about this experience is that we are imperfect. That's why we come here to life school. So some of you are shedding these stories within around your own worthiness and the ways that you need to be in order to deserve love or to feel worthy or to feel valuable. A lot of you are shedding and releasing that. Okay, Leo, I know Pluto and the eclipses can be a little intense, so let's talk about some Jupiter energy. Let's talk about where your luck is awaiting, your growth, your fulfillment. So within the first portion of the year, from January 1st until June 9th, 2025, Jupiter will be finishing out its time in Gemini, which is your 11th house. 11th house is audiences, 11th house is friendships, 11th house is hopes and dreams. An unexpected gift that I do see aligning this year is that a lot of you are really getting clear on your priorities. All this 8th house activation energy, yes, sometimes it can drive us into shadow work and transformation, but it really just helps us tap into what means something, like what we want our legacy to be, what we want to create that will outlive us a lot of times. And 11th house also has to deal with our societal or humanitarian causes. So how it is that you want to help others. And so with Jupiter in the 11th house, this could be a year of clarity around how it is that you are feeling soulfully and spiritually called, North Node Pisces, to make a difference, to help others. And I do feel that a lot of times this can be healing balm for our soul, is helping others. And I say that only because not every Leo, but some Leos might be going through something challenging with the Pluto energy. Truly, as we help others, we do help ourselves in a weird way. As we are of service to others, we do feel better, or at least have a sense of purpose, even if we're going through something challenging. Which I want to be so clear, it's not every single Leo, but I would just say with Jupiter in 11th house, a lot of you could really be sharpening focus around where it is that you want to give back towards others. Some of you can be sharing on social media. I would deeply encourage, my Leos, you're here to shine. Okay, put yourself out there. Jupiter is there to support you. You could experience a lot of growth with your community, with your network. Some of you could even go randomly viral this year. We'll talk about Uranus in a moment, but there can be a lot of growth when it comes to your social media audiences and connecting with new souls, networking, word of mouth. Even if you don't work online, with Jupiter and Gemini, you could be networking quite a bit. There could be luck as it relates to calls colleagues, people connecting you to opportunities. If you do want to advance, get a new position, you might be linked through a colleague of yours, a friend of a friend. Invest in your networks within the first portion of the year. Either it's going to help you feel connected, which is going to help you navigate through what you're moving through. It can help you level up and make your dreams come true. And it can also just feel good to give back and to really step into what God, universe, the divine designed you for. And I'll say this, the effort that you invest in your community and in your friendships pays out dividends when Jupiter is in your 11th house. So socially, making the effort to invest energy in your social groups, putting the energy towards investing within your friendships, putting the energy towards saying yes to social gatherings. The social ROI of that could be huge. A lot of your blessings could come to you via being linked by your network. Now, Jupiter is not the only planet who's in this 11th house of hopes and dreams and friendships. Uranus also dabbles into this portion of your chart. And so Uranus enters Gemini, thus your 11th house, on July 7th, where it stays until November 7th. At that point, it retrogrades back into Taurus, and then next year it starts this 8-year cycle of Uranus and Gemini. So we're at the precipice of this journey and many others this year. And when it comes to Uranus and Gemini, what you can expect is unusual happenings. You know, there could be friendships that randomly start and friendships that randomly end. There could be people who find you on social media who are obsessed with you and then suddenly are over you. Like, again, I want to prepare you, Leo. People could have a very intense or dramatic response to you with Pluto in the 7th house. You could elicit very polarizing reactions from people, I would say. And just know that people do not see you as you are. They see you as they are. So people could project things onto you, assume things about you. You could also go through random spikes of your audience. You could go through random changes as it relates to your social media following. You could also experience changes as it relates to your hopes and dreams. As you evolve, your visions for the future evolve as well. And there's something coming through this year for you, Leo, around a surrendering of how you thought that things were going to be. Again, you're in a new reality with the Pluto in your opposite sign energy. We're releasing the plan with the energy of South Node Virgo. There could be part of you that's grieving how you thought that things were, but now you're in this new reality. And Pluto energy asks us to just evolve with it. We cannot cling to where we used to fit. And with the energy of Uranus 11th house, give yourself grace and space to play with new visions of the world around, I used to want to be a dancer and now I want to be a heart surgeon. Like, allow yourself to surprise yourself. Allow your dreams to surprise you. Your dreams of how you envision the future. Some of you could feel called to stand up for what's right, to rebel, to advocate for what's right with the energy of Uranus in the 11th house. Use your voice and your messaging to communicate for what's right, even if not everybody agrees with you. You know, with Pluto energy in the 7th, we have some Aries energy in the 9th. Not everybody will see the world as you do, and that's okay. That's why we're here. We're all different. But it's important not to dilute your message to make it for everyone, because you are not for everyone. Some of you could even randomly go viral, potentially for good reasons, potentially for bad reasons. I need to be straight up with you. And Uranus energy, there might be some weird stuff going down when it comes to your social media following, but you just have to ensure that you are in alignment with truth and in alignment with you. Now, if you are not on social media, just expect shakeups as it relates to friends, new friends coming in, old friends departing, hearing from friends you did not expect, unexpected happenings happening within colleagues. Some of you could even randomly go viral, potentially for good ways, potentially for good reasons, potentially for bad reasons. I need to be straight up with you. So now I do want to let you know, Uranus is wrapping up a journey in your 10th house. So a lot of Leos have gone through changes as it relates to career. You've gone through some ups and downs. You've gone through some shifts as it relates to reputation. And that energy will be particularly highlighted if you do have any Leo placements between 23 to 29 degrees. That indicates that you will have a Uranus square this year, so it will intensify Uranus energy, which you could feel very restless. You could feel a little bit chaotic. You could be craving something different, you know, particularly as it relates to career or wanting your creativity to shine in a new or novel way. Now, after Jupiter wraps up its time in Gemini, it enters Cancer, June 9th, 2025. This is great news for the collective, genuinely, because Jupiter, the planet of luck, blessings, and abundance, is leaving territory where it's like, oof, in and moving into territory where it's like, in. In that Jupiter does not particularly like being in Gemini. Yes, it still does give us blessings and where it's transiting through. So for you, your friends, your hopes and dreams, your community. But these blessings can feel to be a little bit more understated. Now, when Jupiter is in its exaltation, which is where it's entering, which is its favorite sign of the zodiac, it is thriving. It is pouring out blessings left, right, and center. And where these blessings are coming for you is around your inner reservoirs. So hear me out, Leo, because this is a very potent transit. Because what you are doing June 9th onward, going into 2026, which, spoiler alert, major year for you guys, okay? But what you are doing to prepare for the major year that's aligning for you guys next year is you are getting clear on what you are not taking with you into this next cycle. Because next year, Jupiter enters Leo. This is your sign, lucky year, massive growth, expansion, starting new chapters. So when Jupiter is in the 12th house, it's an ending of a chapter. Don't panic, don't fret. There just is an energy around, if I recognize that new adventures are on my horizon, what am I not taking with me on this new quest, on this new journey? Is it ways of talking to myself, subconscious stories? Is it stuff that no longer aligns? Is it relationships? You know, we talked a lot about that with Pluto in the 7th house. What feels like it's more so a reflection of who I used to be rather than who I am? And the energy of Jupiter in Cancer, Cancer is the archetypal mother. A lot of you are learning to deeply mother and nurture yourself during this time. Some of you could be remothering yourself during this time. A lot of you could be nourishing and nurturing and pouring into yourself so that you're able to give and to share. You may find the latter portion of this year, you do feel a little bit more private. You're a little bit more choosy and selective with your energy. And that's something that I would encourage you to do because not everybody deserves access to it. Pluto in the 7th house is making that clear. You could have some weirdos in your space. People who are craving a little bit too much information about you. People who want to know exactly how you did what it is that you did. Not every secret is necessarily one that you want to share. You don't need to give people the step-by-step on how you got what you got. Not everybody needs those instructions, especially if they're just going to bite and copycat off of it. You know, Pluto in the 7th house can bring some of that energy. And so you might find you're not wanting to share as much towards the end of the year. You're like, no, I'm not wanting to share this information. I'm not feeling inspired to share this information. Because the thing with the first portion of the year is that Jupiter in Gemini is very chatty. It's in the 11th house. You're much more social. That could be online. But you could find towards the latter portion of the year, you are drawing your energy inwards a little bit. You might be feeling a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more vulnerable. And it is of my belief it's because your sensitivity is increasing, your psychic ability is increasing even more so. It's just a recognition that with every new level of sensitivity we unlock or any new spiritual gift that we unlock, our limits of how much we can handle also lowers in response to that. Like if you're more sensitive, you're going to feel more overstimulated in groups of people a little easier. If you're more sensitive, loud places are not going to align with you in the same way. If you're more sensitive, you may feel less inclined to want to share everything that's happening in your life on social media or with your friendships. There's just an energy where you are protecting your peace, you're safeguarding your sparkle, okay, as the Leo that you are, and you're just really pouring into yourself and really loving yourself from the inside out and pouring into your solitude, honestly, with the energy of 12th house. And I'm not saying that you will literally be alone. I just think you will be drawing more of your strength from your inner reserves. And you might find that you are feeling inclined to withdraw and retreat in order to excavate that from yourself, to pull that from within. And so some of you could be, waking up as the sun rises to meditate. Some of you could even be, cooking or baking more as an opportunity to nurture yourself, show yourself love. You're pouring into things that are sacred, even if they don't make sense to other people. You're being a little bit more private. Your dreams could be a little bit more rich and nuanced. And with Jupiter in Cancer, your intuition is highlighted and you're trusting it. That's such a theme that I see for you in Leo. I think a lot of you are already incredibly intuitive, but I think this is a particular year that you're trusting your instincts and you are saying no to things that are not in alignment for you. And you're operating not through this lens of scarcity that you need to take every job or every money deal that comes your way with that South Node Virgo energy, that you need to say yes to every social gathering, because the energy of Jupiter in 12th house is around No, you're competing with my peace. Whether it's dating, you're competing with my peace. This particular job is competing with my peace. This social outing is competing with my peace. In that it needs to be a heck of a good offer for me to be willing to go out in the world, right? Cancer is the crab. So for me to leave my little shell, and it's not saying that you shouldn't, that you're going to be a recluse in the latter portion of this year. I just see that the price tag of your energy is getting a little bit higher, because you're finding that you're inclined to draw a little bit more energy from within solitude, or being a little bit less accessible to the outside world. That's what I see. Your intuition will be highlighted here, and you can be letting go of belongings and stuff. I just see a lot of Leos are selling a lot of stuff. You're releasing clothes that no longer align with you. You're releasing subconscious stories that no longer align with you. You're rewriting your inner script to make it one that is nourishing and nurturing. You're releasing how you valued and found yourself as worthy because of how hard you work, or because you've upheld certain ideals of perfection with South Node Virgo. And with Jupiter Cancer, you're really contemplating, how can I make my inner script the most nurturing, the most loving, the most nourishing possible? And some of you could just have things in your life that you're not wanting to tell people about. And that's okay. Not everybody needs to know everything, Leo. And you are really honoring what you're feeling inclined to keep sacred. And you're a very generous sign, Leo, but this is a year that you're really honoring what it is that you're wanting to give and what it is that you're wanting to keep sacred, because we cannot give what we do not have ourselves. So you're really contemplating what pours into myself, and how is it that I can maintain that fountain within myself so I can pour into others. And sometimes we have to be around people who are drains, right? With Pluto in the 7th house, for us to awaken to the wisdom and the knowledge around how important it is to be our own fountain, right? To maintain our own energetic flow, and to steer clear from people who drain it or siphon it from us. And to also take that responsibility to cultivate it within yourself and for yourself. And this is all truly prep, Leo, because next year you're stepping into a cycle of visibility, fame. Some of you, eyes on you, new opportunities, new travel, new chapters opening up for you. So this is preparation, my love. It's almost like when we point an arrow at something, we draw back the bow to launch the arrow. This is a time that, yes, you're drawing inward, but it's in order to pop up. So some of you might literally disappear and then pop back up in 2026, an evolved version of yourself. That could be the vibe. You know, 12th house is the skeletons in our closet. You know, Cancer is an energy that has to deal with the past. So a lot of you are making peace with the past. You are looking face to face, your skeletons in your closet. You are befriending your demons. You're doing the work from the inside out. You're making peace with the past. You're no longer identifying with the past. You're no longer allowing the past to keep you stuck and keep you in cycles that are not aligning for you. And you might be prioritizing that, or gaining freedom from the chokeholds that the past or nostalgia could have kept you ensnared within. Now, some of you, not the story for everyone, but Cancer also has to deal with home and family. So some of you could also just be a little less accessible to the world because you're working on a renovation project, or family could be taking enhanced importance. Again, I do feel that with Pluto in the 7th house, Jupiter in Cancer in 12th house, some of you could be stepping into a new season within your relationship, had a child, you're in a renovation project, which, yes, changes the dynamic of your connection as well as your accessibility to the outside world. So there also could be something like that in your horizon occurring. Speaking of spiritual houses, because 12th house is very spiritual, but 9th house, another very alive portion of your chart, is also very spiritual as well. So we have Neptune entering Aries March 30th to October 22nd. And we have Saturn entering Aries May 24th until September 1st. And both of these dabble in your 9th house and then go back into the 8th. So it's starting this new journey in the 9th house, and truly new journey, underlined, highlighted, because these signs are entering the first sign of the zodiac, Aries, which is around initiating, starting things. And I do think while these transits most certainly have their downsides, I do feel it is helpful around getting us out of this kind of sleepy, defeated energy of Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces, and inspiring us to spring into action with the energy of Aries, because that's what Aries is all about. Cardinal fire, taking action, making things happen. And you are being guided to take action or make things happen, particularly as it relates to your beliefs. So let's start with Neptune. So Neptune enters this portion of your chart, and you can find that you are really feeling cold to initiate certain chapters of your life in a very spiritual way. Like I said, I saw this with the eclipse too. There's certain spiritual assignments that you could be receiving that part of you this year is going to be like, who, me? Could I possibly do that? Like, you could even just get certain visions or just certain desires into your mind around, what if I could do this? What if I could do this? And there might be part of you that it's like, me? Could I possibly? But with Neptune in Aries in the 9th house, it's important to allow these visions coming into your awareness to give you courage to initiate, to try. Do not be the first person to tell yourself no. And know that the universe picked you for these visions. So if you are rejecting certain visions on, could I really talk in front of those many people? Or should I even dare to dream of that? Again, allow your dreams to shake up this year. You've got Uranus in the 11th house. And allow your spiritual connection to give you courage. That, heck yeah, you can do this. That's why Spirit chose you for this particular mission or vision. Believe in the dream with Neptune here. But have discernment, because Saturn is soon to follow. And so while Neptune in the 9th house can be a time of spirituality and feeling more connected to the big picture and going on very transcendent spiritual journeys of some sort, Saturn energy asks for discernment. And so you may find that you're inclined to go on retreats to follow certain spiritual practices. By all means, I encourage you to do that. But with Saturn energy, exercise discernment. Do not just blindly follow gurus or leaders. Really vet who it is that you choose to listen and learn from. Really vet the belief systems that you take on during this time. Saturn energy is going to nudge you to do that. Now, I will say that Saturn, particularly being in Aries, the sign of its fall in the 9th house, some of you might be a little angry at God, honestly. Again, there's an energy coming in this year around, this isn't how I thought that things would be. This isn't how I thought that things would turn out. And again, maybe that's the grieving of Pluto. It's just like letting go to how you thought that things were going to be. And I know it's hard. I know it's a grieving. I know there's feelings associated with it. That's Jupiter in the 12th house, right? Allowing ourselves to really make peace with the past and make peace with how the past led us to this particular present. And that we can't allow ourselves to return to these outdated, outgrown versions of self. And so with Saturn and Aries in the 9th house, some of you could be mad around God. Like, I prayed for this and it didn't work out or something of that nature. And Saturn energy is going to ask you to really work the muscle around building a worldview that does feel supportive for you. And both of these planes are very different tonality-wise. Saturn and Neptune. You know, Neptune wants to transcend and escape and dissolve, and Saturn wants to restrict and limit. And so I would say, while spirituality is something that feels like it will be supportive for you this year, Saturn energy does ask you to have discernment with it, as well as building your faith in the universe or building your intuition. A lot of us have natural spiritual gifts, but Saturn energy asks you to work that muscle of them. Just like we show up to the gym to work our muscles, we have to show up to the spiritual gym. We have to meditate in order to tap in. We got to read our astrology books in order to be better at astrology, so on and so forth. And Saturn and Aries can be the nudge there. And it's important to build a worldview that makes you feel empowered, that holds you accountable to how things that have transpired to this point, good and bad, right? Around recognizing the consequences of past decisions, but also celebrating the things within your reality that you're like, heck yes, I did this. Like, I think these Aries ingresses are going to ask for a lot of accountability when it comes to self and just stepping in this warrior energy around, okay, whatever happened in the past, maybe some of it was my doing, maybe some of it was not my fault. Regardless, how I move forward is my responsibility. And I'm building the worldview that supports me in moving towards what I desire. Because to me, when I think about spirituality, when I think about God, when I think about divinity, I think it's so important for you to align to a belief system that supports you within your life. And that looks different person to person. For me personally, believing in God, believing in a loving cosmos, believing in purpose, that's what helps me. It helps me stay in a state of joy, of gratitude, of service. That is a worldview that supports me in building forward. The tools that I've learned support me in building forward. You and I can argue all day long what's true, what's real, what's not. All I know is that I have undisputed evidence within my real life that my belief in God supports me. It gives me faith, it gives me optimism, it helps me reframe certain hard things of life. It helps me. my belief systems don't have to be the same as yours, but what Saturn in your ninth house is asking this year, build belief systems that help you in navigating this world and help you step into your hero's journey or see yourself as the warrior in your own story. Now, with Saturn and Neptune in the ninth house, they will square off with Jupiter in Cancer in your 12th house. Like I said, spiritual houses, different spiritualities though. Ninth house is the sort of spirituality that we read about in leather-bound books, right? 12th house is more so like mediumship or intuition, like tapping into what's beyond the curtain. That can't always necessarily be taught in books. Again, we can work that muscle, but a lot of times it's a gift that we are given and then have to chisel, and all of our gifts are different. And Saturn in Aries could be a nudge to learn about your gifts, refine your gifts. But what I will say about these squares, with Jupiter square Saturn and square Neptune between the dates of June 15th to June 18th, is that there can be this battle around what you believe in and what feels right. There could be this battle around wanting to expand and explore and travel versus wanting to keep things private and stay hidden in your own inner world. There could be this battle around wanting to expand into your new, while also identifying with the past and the chapters that came before you. You could just feel a push-pull in June with this story aligning. Now, with Saturn and Neptune entering Aries this year, as I highlighted, they don't stay there. So Neptune dabbles in there, Saturn dabbles in there, and they both retrograde back into the 8th house. And so from the beginning of the year until March 30th, and then October 22nd until the end of the year, Neptune will be in Pisces, which is your 8th house. Important to have discernment with financial advisors. If you are married, important to look at your shared bank accounts. I don't care how much you trust someone, and I've never been married, and I would imagine you have to really trust someone to be married. Regardless, have the passwords, know what's going on. Don't just take someone's word for it, especially if it's your financial future as well. Neptune energy asks you to have discernment there. Not a time to fudge the number on taxes. Really seek to find good counsel. We also have Saturn here. So Saturn starts the year in Pisces, your 8th house, where it'll stay until May 24th, at which point it enters Aries, stays in Aries until September 1st, and then re-enters Pisces for the rest of the year. And Saturn in the 8th house could represent that there is a bit of a restriction showing up within shared resources. So North Node is also here, which signals gain. So what I see is that maybe your spouse is retiring and you're having to redistribute finances. Maybe there just is a focus on your investments, and with Saturn energy wanting to put it towards things that stand the test of time could be an energy here. Also, not to get morbid, but 8th house is also, death. And so a lot of you could be really contemplating with the energy of Saturn 8th house, thinking a lot about legacy, thinking a lot about what it is that you want to leave this planet. Some of you could be processing certain loss within your life. Again, nothing scary whatsoever. Sometimes it's a grieving of who it is that we used to be. Sometimes it's a grieving of how naive we used to be, how trusting we used to be. With the energy of Saturn in the 8th house, maybe it's grieving a past version of yourself, a past version of your life. Maybe it's even anticipatory grieving around there's someone in your life who's older and you are having to face this uncomfortable reality around you're not going to be here for much longer. And that can be something that is harsh to take in, but it can also set you free. I think if we can look death straight on, we give ourselves permission to fully live. Because when we recognize that this moment is finite and urgent, we are more inspired to grab hold of it, to make the most use of this precious gift that we have with our time on this planet. And again, I think Pluto is also sharpening that into awareness for you, Leo, in that Pluto, especially in the 7th house, you're really thinking, who do I want to navigate this world with? Do I want a life partner? Maybe some of you are taking on more extreme or progressive viewpoints on partnerships. Maybe some of you are contemplating, do I want a partner? Or is that just something I was programmed to believe that I needed? And with the energy of Pluto, again, strive not to get obsessive and paranoid about it, but a lot of you could just be really thinking, I don't have unlimited time on this planet. Do I want to be unhappy in this marriage or unhappy in this partnership forever? Is this how I want my future to go? And Saturn in the 8th house can be this energy around separating assets. Some of you could be dealing with some sort of challenging court case, alimony, child support, divorce, something of that nature to separate assets. Really going through what is mine and what is not mine. Because 8th house is where we share, and Saturn energy could be divvying. And I also want to highlight that, Leo, to an energetic level as well. Not mine. Not everything is yours to take on. You know, sometimes with Pluto in the 7th house, there could be individuals who operate in a very chaotic way, who have a lot of problems and they want to put those on you. And again, you can have empathy and compassion for individuals, but it's so important this year to just honor, not mine. This is not my baggage to take on. I do not need to feel indebted to other people's issues and problems that they are in. You know, 8th house is around debt. So with Saturn in 8th house, some of you could be, you know, putting yourself on a system to pay back your debt in some way, but it's also like energetic debt where we feel indebted to others. And with the energy of Saturn in the 8th house, recognizing this was not my debt to take on. Maybe some of you are like carrying debt of expectations that are weighing on you. And it's just like, not mine. And with Saturn in the 8th house, recognizing what you are holding on to that was never yours to carry. And I want to let you know that throughout the entirety of the year, Chiron is in Aries, which is your 9th house. So spirituality does feel like something that could have been very healing for you. A lot of you could have really stepped into your spiritual path because it was the only antidote. It was the only balm. That's why I'm so passionate about spirituality, because it is the only thing that has healed me. And I'm sure that's the case for many individuals. I mean, I think there's lots of healing modalities, but I would say for you, with Chiron in the 9th house, you could find that understanding astrology, numerology, some sort of religion, some sort of faith could have been healing for you. Because with Chiron, this is inadequacy, where we don't feel good enough. And there's a message coming through this year, Leo, around really seeing yourself through the eyes of the divine, like how the divine would see you, which is flawless. Perfect, designed beautifully and intentionally. And I see with South Node Virgo in the 2nd house, a lot of you are releasing perfectionism. I see with Pluto in the 7th house, some of you are even stepping into your power within a dynamic, if you've been in a connection that wanted to keep you small, that wanted to nitpick you and control you. And you're really stepping this energy around, no, this is not how I was designed. Like, this is not what my soul came here to experience, is to be criticized for being who it is that I am? Absolutely not. And so I feel that spirituality could be part of that with Chiron within the 9th house. So Leo, as we've just spent the last hour or so discussing, this is quite a year that you are stepping into. And I want to let you know you are not alone. Spirit is with you. I am here cosmically cheerleading you on. You guys cheerlead everybody else on. Just know that I'm here cheerleading you on. And in cheerleading you on, I wrote you some soul-centered affirmations that are designed with your transits in mind to empower you as you navigate through these energies and through these transits. You can find these affirmations available within a PDF below in the description. You can save the PDF to your computer, or you can even print it if they resonate with you. But the affirmations are as follows. I step into my power and my relationships reflect my power. I evolve within my connections. My relationships enliven me, inspire me, and empower me. Every single individual I connect with represents who I am evolving to become. I invest energy in the connections that leave me feeling sparklier and more radiant than I entered prior. It is safe for me to transform. It is safe for my dreams to evolve. It is safe for me to step into new sides of myself. I exert discipline and discernment around who I allow in. I nourish what is sacred to me. I prioritize the rituals that help me connect to my soul space. My intuition is my most accurate GPS. I work the muscle of my spiritual practices that enhance my intuition and my faith. I build a worldview that genuinely supports me. I release my plan to step into the divine's plan. I am open to receive. It is safe for me to receive. Money works for me. I am a magnet for unexpected wealth. I contract so that I can expand. So Leo, what a year. I would love to know, what are you looking forward to? What are you seeking to co-create with this year? What gives you some trepidation? I know Pluto energy can sound a little intense, but just continually choose who it is that you are evolving to become, what your relationships are transforming to become, and just know that this is why we came here to planet Earth, to evolve, to grow, to step into new sides of ourselves. So continue to hold the vision around the most positive, impactful, aligned manifestation of these energies, and just know that I'm here to support you. So let me know what you think about 2025's astrology. You can comment below, or my Instagram handle is @HaleyCommentAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.